justice and peace and equality.
Yeah, boy. Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast with Change Starts with Conversation. We're back with Ms. Tamakio Patterson, owner operator of Jewel ABA Therapy right in Stockbridge, man. What y'all don't know, she getting ready to open up an enterprise around this thing, and I see Jewel ABA Therapy all across Georgia, man.
That is my plan.
I already see it.
That's my plan. That's part of my goals. Not only that, I want to open up a micro school.
Talk to us about the micro. What's a micro school? Talk to us.
A micro school is set up under a homeschooling window, so I don't have to get accredited by the school. However, I want it specifically for special education because the schools are failing our children in the special education department.
High schools failing our kids in the special education department.
There is an act put into place called the IDEA Act. That's Individuals with Disability and Education Act. So that act was put into place so the children that have special needs get the same treatment as their peers. However, that's not the case. That's not what's been happening. A lot of people, and I can speak for a lot of kids that I have who are coming to who comes to me part time and they go to school part time, or they were with me full time or going to school full time and was trying to split time up. The school saying, "Oh, well, yeah, they don't need ABA services. They need to be in school." However, the teachers are not trained to deal with children on the spectrum. Meanwhile, when they have these behaviors they can't control, you want to kick them out. You want to call the parents and tell them to come pick them up. You want to prevent them from getting going on field trips. And then lately, what I've been seeing a whole lot of on social media and on the news, where you have these facilities and you have these schools who send parents who send these kids to school. They come home with marks on them. People can't tell you what or how it got there. You can't get any responses from the superintendents or from the principal. So the IDEA Act is not being used. It's not being put to their full potential. They don't want to deal with behavior. However, let us come in and help you with the behavior aspect. But they won't allow that either.
Wow.
They won't allow us to come in.
Even with teachers being underserved, it's 30, 40 kids in the classroom now.
I just went to Congress back in April to speak with Congress about this very need. They were unaware of exactly what was going on, of course, but I'm one to make the noise. I'm one to make the noise because it's affecting me, it's affecting my families, it's affecting a lot of people around me, and I'm tired of seeing it on social media. So I made it very clear, like, this is something, it becomes a domino effect after a while. The parents feel, when they're told things by the school, a lot of the parents, they really don't know a whole lot. So they don't question nothing. They don't question nothing. They let the schools tell them whatever they want to tell them. They go off on about their merry way. But when they come and tell me, I'm like, no, that's not what we're gonna do. We have to fix it some way, somehow. If I have to sit on a IEP, which is an individual educational plan meeting with them, I would definitely do that so we can have some clarity, because parents don't understand that they're part of the IEP committee as well. You're the parent. Your child is a part of that as well. So you do have a say-so in what goes on. But the schools they're not doing their due diligence when it comes to the education with special education. They don't want to deal with them. So if I open up a micro school, that would set the children in special needs, or give them the ability to get the treatment that they need. Correct. Because they are no different than nobody else. When my kids at my center, I don't talk to them as if something is wrong with them. I talk to them as if they're one of my kids. Yes. Because these kids are the most intelligent and smart kids you will ever meet in your life. And if you talk to them in a certain kind of way, they feed off of that. They start acting in that behavior because they feel that you are treating them a certain kind of way. But if you talk to them like we're having a conversation, they understand exactly what's going on.
I totally agree. And that's the thing. And I noticed, like, when you start paying special attention to adults dealing with IDD or kids dealing with ABA, their motor skills start to develop differently. Like, they kind of like almost like operate like we say normal people.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? But it's such a stigma. Like people like, oh, they look different than me. They act. Like I'm just like, what is going on? So when you're working with the kids and you're doing the things that you're doing and you're advocating on their behalf at Congress and doing the things that you're doing, what are some of the messages that you're trying to push or are striving to push so that it can make the community aware how we can be, break the cycle and build a bridge for a better tomorrow?
No, the first and foremost, the biggest thing that I try to put out there is it's okay to ask for help. I have a lot of parents who come to me and they might have been to another ABA center and they felt that they weren't getting the services they needed there.
Okay.
Or they don't know a whole lot of what's going on in the community or what kind of resources that they can do or get to kind of help them move in the right direction, especially for a newly diagnosed child.
Definitely.
It's very difficult for a parent who has a newly diagnosed child, a 2 or 3 year old, and they've never dealt with anybody with autism before. They don't know which way to go. They don't know what to do. It's like the blind leading the blind at that point.
Absolutely.
But the parents need to understand that there are people out there. So that's why
Come on now.
I put myself out there.
Come on now.
I don't want to just be labeled as a founder and the CEO of Jewel ABA. I am an advocate in the state of Georgia for special needs.
Man.
And I put that out there like, if you need help, come to me.
Okay.
If I don't have the answer, I bet you I'll find the answer.
I know you will. And so a lot of times, and I know you get it all the time because people come and they say, oh, she's a business owner. But you actually have a passion for helping people. Like I can see it in your spirit. I can see it in your drive. Like, how do you separate the business from the passion and making sure that your message gets, to the top? Because you touch some corners of the world that have made an impact. What makes you do that?
This is just me. Seriously, like this is just me. I am a very empathetic person. I always love to help, whether it's my family, whether I'm a giver. I love hard, and I love to see people win. So I'm not a gatekeeper by any means. So if I have the knowledge and I have the tools to give to somebody else, you better believe I'm gonna get it because I want everybody to be able to succeed. And that's the biggest problem when it comes to any kind of entrepreneurship.
Right.
No matter what field it is, I'm not in competition with nobody.
Man, so you better tell
me. The only person I'm in competition with is myself.
Yes.
I didn't set up a stone to compete with another business. I wanted to do something a little bit differently. Because a lot of ABA companies, especially a lot of these big companies, you don't see the owners. You know how many people I have that I've interviewed or come to me and they're like, dang, I've never thought that I would see the owner of an ABA center. I've never seen the owner of an ABA. And I said, I'm very personal.
Yes.
You're going to see me.
Yes.
And I'm one of those people, like, even if I'm working somebody, like, I want to speak with who I'm going to work for.
Okay.
So I'm one of those, I want people to see who they're going to be working for.
Absolutely.
And the real me. I'm not gonna, when I do interviews, I don't do commercial. I don't do those uniform interviews. We have a conversation.
Man, it's all
I need you to see who I am, and I need to see who you are. I need to be able to read you.
Read the room.
I'm one of those. A 30-minute interview very well turns into a whole 3 hour.
Oh man, I already know. And I done had some 3-hour interviews up in this room.
Easily. And that's because the person is getting to know you. So I put myself out there. That's the type of space that I set for people, anybody who comes inside my center. Anybody who comes around me when it comes to what I feel is my purpose. Because I feel this is my purpose.
Oh, I could tell it's your purpose, man. How do you deal, and I know I've had family members, I had friends who have kids who have autism, and one of the biggest setbacks that I see is the parents, they kind of shy away like, my kid don't need help. My kid, or they're kind of like, what I would say, blindly shameful of what's going on with their child, or when they're dealing with AD, and they kind of like keep them tucked away. You know what I mean?
I haven't come across anything particularly like that.
Okay.
However, I'm good at pushing. I'm good at pushing. If I come across somebody, with the diagnosis of autism or whatever, and I ask, I start off with a conversation.
Right.
Start off with see where their head is at. See
to.
where you trying to go. I read the room all the time. I read the room. I read you.
Yes.
Like I try to see exactly, and then I ease my way in. Have you ever thought about ABA?
Yes.
Well, what is ABA? This is what ABA is. This is how your child will be able to benefit. It's easier to control it when they're younger. When they're older, it's a little bit. Not saying it can't be controlled, but it becomes a little bit difficult because they get stuck in their ways. You know, and how to maneuver and move around this. This is how you go about doing this. That's what I do with those patients. And I keep pushing. I'm like, you have my number. My number. You can reach out to me anytime. My phone stay on me. I sleep on the phone. So you can reach out to me anytime if you have any question. If you need guidance, just let me know.
Okay. Now, have you ever dealt with a parent, like, I know getting them in the door and we got it, because a lot of this is new during our generation. Mm-hmm. Mental health, ADA, ABA, all of that, IDD. I never heard these terms growing up, and I'm an 80s baby, everything was just like, hey man, they crazy, they this, seriously. Seriously.
You're right.
What happens to the parent? How do you, what support system is out there for the parent or the caretaker who may be going through like depression or the state of who they're taking care of? Because that's a hard job.
It is.
When you got to deal with it 24 hours out of the day.
It is a hard job. But a lot of the parents, they can't afford to go and see a psychiatrist or, a counselor to be able to talk to, them about those issues. And again, it's still a big stigma of them talking to that. So again.
Yes.
Me, when my parents come through the door, I have a conversation. I don't look at my parents as just parents.
Yeah.
They're my family.
Man.
They're my family. So we have a real deep, we have conversation.
Come on now.
And they're able, and I make it a safe space for them to talk to me about anything and everything, so that they'll at least get something lifted up off of their shoulders. Because it's a lot to having to deal with a child on the spectrum, especially if you have a level 3. Definitely. A level 3 aggressor, and you can't deal with them, and you've never dealt with something like that. It becomes very difficult. And these parents are living with these children every single day. So if we can take them for 8 hours a day, for 6 hours a day, to kind of guide them in the direction they need to be, to at least kind of show them the right path they need to be going. And my parents do parent trainings every week.
Right.
So we need to stay on the same accord. It defeats the purpose if we do one thing in the center.
Come on now.
But you're doing something else at home. We gotta work together. It does take a community and it takes everybody. It also starts at home. I tell my parents a lot of times, and I will call you out.
Come on, you got to.
I will call you out on whatever. If I see that it's something that you need not to be doing, I'm going to tell you, you are the problem. Now, what are we going to do to fix it?
Man, I got with our mentor program. We was working with young men, and I got to say this before we go to the commercial break, because you just hit a very important topic. I had to become a certified life coach. Mm. And the reason I had to become a certified life coach, because after examining and working with young men for 15 years in the mentoring program, I started to realize that the parent was the problem. Mm-hmm. The whole time.
And that's a lot of the time. It's a lot of the parents need to get out of the parenting. The parenting mode when it comes to a lot of different stuff.
Okay.
When they start doing the whole gentle parenting, the gentle parenting is for gentle children. Okay.
yeah.
Get that. I get it. I'm a mom.
Right.
You know what I mean? I sometimes I put my mother shoes on because I have to tend to my kids. However, when you have something set in front of you that needs dire need,
correct.
Needs more help than any other thing. And if you have other children on top of that,
absolutely,
you are going to have to do some self-reflection and try to figure it out.
Correct.
But you don't have to figure it out by yourself.
You don't have to figure it out.
And that's what I want any parent out there with a child that's on the spectrum. I don't care if it's level 1 or 3. There are resources out there. You know how many times I give people resources? I've never heard of that. Wow. I never knew that it even existed. Wow. And I said, because people are so stuck in their ways. Okay. A lot of people don't put them, they don't care to help nobody. They don't care to help nobody. It's not them. Okay. So they don't make it a big issue. You haven't come around people that are put into place to help with those type of things. Ooh. God has left me here on this earth. I was diagnosed with lupus in 2005. Okay. I suffered 3 strokes. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be. God has left me here for a reason. And the reason is to spread everything that he put upon me onto other people. Absolutely. And that's exactly what I'm doing when it comes into this. Because even this job, I didn't set out to even work with kids. I've been working with adults all of my life in the medical field. I didn't apply for that job to become an office manager for ABA Center. He found me. Where? Don't know. But I took the job and helped him build his company up. And after a while, he said, when you did your interview with me, when I asked what was your life, your long-term goals, right? Okay. And, he said, do you remember what your response was? And I said, I don't. That was a while ago. Wow. And he said, to not work for somebody else. And I said, that sounds like something else. Okay. Yeah. Not to work for somebody else. Yeah. So he was like, have you ever thought about opening up an ABA center? I said, yeah. Not really. Because I always worked with adults. I didn't work with kids. However, when I started meeting with the parents, because I actually started doing parent interviews. Instead of doing the franchise that I was working for, they had this way of just getting the kids in. Just get them in. Yeah. No, I used to have to I set them in front of me and we had a long conversation. Okay. Till they got to the point where they would tell me all their business and whatnot. I made them comfortable. So they were like, oh, this is where I need to be. Absolutely. You're very hands-on. I'm very hands-on. Even as a founder and CEO, I'm very hands-on with my staff and my kids. You got to be. And so a lot of people aren't used to that. But after a while, when I said, and I was like, I could open. I think I'll be able to do it. Okay. Again, because I feel I can do anything. Man. I can do anything. All things. But finances was not in place for me. Okay. I'm like, I don't have the finances to do something like that. Wow. But my parents saw something in me, and they was like, one couple came to me and said, we'll invest. We'll invest in your business. Come on now. And I was like, really? Yeah, let's have a meeting. We'll invest in. I already had my business plan out from the front to the back page. I had already did my research and everything because I did want to eventually do it, but I knew that wasn't going to be the time for me. Man, you better tell it, man. Hey, hold that thought, because we on fire right here, man. Tamakio Patterson that came in this thing and lit it up. You hear me, man? You guys, we got to go to another commercial break because our sponsors love their recognition on this show, so we got to make sure we give them their time. Shout out to Costa Rica Kitchen over there on Jodico Road. Shout out to... Also, shout out to a New Well Adult Daycare Center, one of our primary sponsors for this show, Miller North and Brill Law Firm, and South Atlanta Family Law Firm. You guys, stay tuned. Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. Ease up.
And equality, that the world they will see.